Hi, I'm Jo from the Lurg Learning Centre. Do you like my Halloween bunting? Would you like to make some? I'm putting together a kit with some lovely fabric squares. You're going to get the bias binding to put it onto, and it looks actually perfect on screen, but when you get it, it will be back to front. It's back to front for a reason, because you iron this onto the back of your material, and then you cut it out, and then you will iron it onto the front, and this happens. Okay, if you want a kit, please get in touch. So I've taken the 9 squares to the sewing machine, and some of you might find that you'll see the selvage on some of your squares. It's just bunting, it's not really going to make any difference, but what you want to make sure is that when you fold them over, because you're going to fold all 9 diagonally and you're going to sew right down here. So what you want to do is make sure that that is in the back. And chain piecing, this is chain piecing, where you're going from one to the next, okay, without leaving any gap and cutting the threads. So you are going to sew off of one onto the next, back tack, and then come straight down. And back tack just to secure it, and then you're going to take the next one and sew straight onto that one. And then the next one, making sure it's right sides together and diagonally. Oh, I think that's a selvage edge there, so I make sure that that one does get sewn into the back. Okay, and then you can snip them apart. Now from here, you can cut off these tiny little bits here, okay, but don't cut through your stitching. There's your stitching, so you're going to cut that off and it'll just reduce the bulk, and you'll do the same at the top in every one. So cut them off and then cut off that bit there and the bit at the top, and it'll just give you a nicer point when you're turning them through. So at this stage, you're going to turn it through. And get something blunt-ended to poke out your corners, to make them nice and pointy. And then you're going to pop it down and try and get this in the centre. Take it to your arm and give it a good press. And do that with all 9. Now that these are all nicely pressed, what you want to do is you can see that it's now the shape that you want, and you're just going to cut these off right across. Okay, just like that. Hold on to these bits because you're going to be using them in a minute. Okay, so straight across. Up there, and keep that for later. Now's a good time to lay them out how you want to see them. Okay, each kit will be slightly different. Okay, so I quite like a purple in between each one. Okay, I quite like these. So remember at the start I said that the word Halloween is back to front. That's for a reason. This is just like a sheet of glue that sticks your fabric to fabric. So what I've done here is I have cut them up individually, because the little triangles that we cut off the top of our pennants, this is where we're going to stick these onto. I want the H to be here because I know my first pennant isn't green. So what I do is I take the back of it and I'll pop that on there and I'll just iron it on. Just takes a couple of seconds, and then I'll leave that glue to set. Okay, this purple thing here. So I don't think I want the cat on it, so I'm going to try and just get it into the purple. And I might even do it, nope, that way. Okay, and then just give that a bit of an iron. What the hell? Onto the wrong side. Pop that down. Iron it on. Okay. So now that this is cool, all I have to do is cut this out now. And then when you peel the paper off, now you can see it's kind of shiny, and that's the glue there, that's the Gore-Tex. So then you're going to take your pennant and you're going to decide where to put it. I quite like it there. Then you're going to take your iron again and you're just going to iron it on. And you're going to do that with all your letters. If you like, you can take it to your sewing machine and sew around it. You can hand sew it if you like, or you can just leave it just as it is. Okay, this is how you attach the bias binding. The bias binding folds over like that. Bias binding just means that it's cut on the bias, so it's got a bit of stretch and it's folded in, and then you fold in on itself so there's no raw edges. So what we're going to do is start off by turning this edge in first so there's no raw edges at the end. And I would suggest putting it in maybe about 1 inch and back tacking right to the end. Because as you see here, there's not much to grab onto the feed dogs, so we need to help it through. Okay, and I'm just gonna, there we go. Now you're going to take your first pennant and you're going to open this up slightly and pop this right into the middle so all the raw edges are encased. And you can pin it in place if you like. It's up to you. I just like to do it as I'm going. and you're wanting to sew right down the middle of here, and it's going to encase your pennant and your bias binding. You can get your next one, making sure it's the next letter. You don't want to be unpicking this, trust me. Remember and fold in the other end. Sometimes it helps to just get a wee tool to help you. Push that raw edges in. Remember and back tack. Numbers are limited, guys, so if you want this kit, get in fast. It's really a quick and simple project to do, and you can get the kids involved. Get the glitter glue out, put some buttons on it, just go to town and go and have fun. And happy Halloween, everybody.